Before the one-handed adapters I offer became what they are today, I wasn't 100% sure that this idea would work, but I was determined to figure out if a clip-on controller adapter could be a viable solution to gaming one-handed on a controller designed for two. Now, everyone with a game system does have a controller, but not everyone can or wants to use it how it was intended to. Eventually, I had a working prototype of the right-handed Xbox Series adapter, and I turned to Call of Duty to find my answer. I figured that if I could competently keep up with other players in a competitive online shooter like Call of Duty, then there actually might be something to this. And my rationale was actually the same when I set out to play through Dark Souls 2 on PS5 using just my left hand. Now I'm at the point where my playtime across all four adapters is well into the hundreds of hours, and I've played games like Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dark Souls 2, and some of the other games that you see in the background of this video, so I just wanted to share a little bit about what I've learned throughout the process of designing, testing, and using these adapters. First and foremost, I learned that I actually had to relearn how to use a controller entirely because there is a little bit of a learning curve to using one of these if you never have before. For me, this was especially true when it came to controlling one of the analog sticks using that joystick arm extension. So for example, if you're on a right-handed adapter, then the joystick arm extension controls the left analog stick. It did feel super weird at first, especially going from two-handed control where I use both my thumbs to move both sticks to now moving the entire controller around to control one of the sticks. But after I got a feel for it, I did end up liking how it functioned, and it became something that I didn't really have to think about after a while. As I mentioned earlier, Call of Duty was the first game that I played, and it took me around 5 to 10 hours of pretty consistent gameplay before I really felt like I was in control of my movement on that left stick. That being said, your mileage may vary though. I did have a friend of mine pick up the left-handed PlayStation adapter once, and he almost beat the last giant in Dark Souls 2 on his very first try. So between the two of us, we had very different adjustment periods actually learning how to use that joystick arm. Besides that, while the adapter does function well on its own, I feel like it really shines when it's used with custom control schemes and button remaps, just based on which game you're playing. But because of this, my playstyle shifts based on which system I'm on. So between PS5, PC, and Xbox, I actually play a little bit differently on each one. For example, on the PlayStation, you can fully remap your controller via the system's accessibility settings, and you can do the exact same thing on PC, either through in-game options, which most games have, or through third-party software. On Xbox console, however, you can't actually remap the triggers through the system settings. You can remap every other button and bumper via the Xbox Accessories app, but you just can't remap the triggers. From what I understand, you need to have an Elite 2 controller in order to remap the triggers, but for whatever reason, you can't actually do it on a regular Xbox controller. And because of that, my playstyle shifts a little bit based on how I can remap my controller. So, to use Call of Duty as an example, if I'm on PC or on PS5 with a right-handed adapter, I usually map my aim to LT or L2, and then I map shoot to RB or R1. So that way aim is controlled by my middle finger by pushing up on the lever to hit the trigger on the left side of the controller, and then shoot is controlled by my index finger on the opposite bumper. And so on Xbox, since the triggers can't be remapped, I usually swap LB and RB with LT and RT in-game, as most games do have a setting to swap those. So then to aim, I usually use the knuckle of my middle finger to hit LB, also with the lever, and then I press down with my index finger on RB to shoot. And finally, for those of you who play one-handed out of necessity rather than out of preference, I know there's no one-size-fits-all solution. So for some of you, this adapter might work really well. For others, your needs might be different. I had one of my Instagram followers actually reach out to me, and he showed me a method that he's been using for his entire life to game one-handed using no adaptive gear. I'll make a little bit more of an in-depth video on that in the future for any of you guys who might find that useful. But I just wanted to mention that because there are options out there, and some may work better than others depending on how you play. Now, I know the only way to really find out if one of these adapters is a good solution for you is to actually try it out. I do have these files listed for free on my printables page, so if you want to print one out for yourself, go ahead and check there. But if you do decide you want to order one from me through my eBay or Etsy shops, I offer 30-day returns, so you can decide for yourself if it's a good fit for you or not.